Hey man, this is a pretty big deal, ladies and gentlemen. In the words of the great Larry David, a pretty big deal. Welcome inside a new era. This is the Sporting Tribune Today. I'm your host, Adrian Hernandez. For many, your first time tuning in, but not only listening as we're being simulcasted, but for the first time, we'd like to say hello and thank you. We're glad to say we are now on the Believe Sports Network for the Sporting Tribune Today. Every week, every Friday specifically, I'm taking up an hour of your time covering the biggest things in sports. And I'm going to be honest with you, and hopefully I don't say that phrase 5 million times, but to be real, we'll talk sports, but we might get into other things. Like it just happens. You know what I'm saying? Like it happens. We try to be honest. We try to be transparent. And we try to be the best, man. Much love to those listening right now on the Bet Las Vegas, the mighty 1090 ESPN radio in Southern California, and of course throughout the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, as we hope you guys are recovering from the devastation over there in Hawaii. Again, my name is Adrian Hernandez. So, what is this, right? Like what are we doing here? What's going on? First off, this is new to me. Very excited. I'm a radio guy. I'm trying to become a content creator, as the kids like to say. So I have to get used to all this. All right. We got the lights, we got the camera. I got to use my eyeballs, and I can't look at my notes or I can't look at my clock because I don't think that's very TV friendly. I got to look dead center right at you, my eyeballs to your soul, as we connect intimately, consensually in the world of sports as we talk about stuff. Okay. So I'm getting used to all that. So have some grace with me as we begin this journey. But the Sporting Tribune is a website, a digital property of sorts that covers primarily the West Coast in the world of sports, professionally, collegiately, amateurly. Is amateurly even a right word? Somehow they pay me to use words and talk. Can't believe it. But we cover the world of sports in the West Coast, three cities in particular: Las Vegas, Nevada, where I'm based, where I'm coming from. You got Southern California, and you also got Hawaii. So those markets are the ones we focus on traditionally. Now, of course, in Las Vegas, we have this thing called the UFC. We got boxing, esports, professional wrestling. One of our reporters is at the US Open in New York. So we're all over the place. And it's my job on this show, on these 60 minutes of us together, again, consensually and intimately, to bring you not only the best from our reporters and our beat writers throughout here in the Sporting Tribune universe, but also the biggest names in sports. And since this is our first show, I figured we got to start off with a bang. Those bangs, plural, bangs in particular, are going to be two specifically: Shaquille O'Neal, Tom Glavine. Two Hall of Famers, two different sports. One heading into the playoffs, the other chilling in the offseason. But I mean, come on. Shaq is Shaq. It's my second time getting to talk to him. So we're going to go to Shaq here in just a little bit. This is the first episode. I'm nervous, trying to make sure everything's good. And we're gonna do something a little different for those that are listening on the radio, because I have to show myself. I have to prove myself to the person checking me out for the first time. It's like our first time after we matched on Hinge. So here we go. I got to start off with the sports take. I didn't think I'd be talking about the world of track. If you can see me on camera, kind of a bigger guy. I avoid running, especially for long distances. But here's the thing. Something that's gone viral for the past week has been Noah Lyles, the American track star who just won a couple world titles. Salute to him. But it wasn't his performance, the historic performance that we were talking about. No. It was his press conference after he won those world titles. As a matter of fact, let's play the clip.
World champion of what? The United States? You know, the thing that hurts me the most is that I have to watch the NBA Finals and they have world champion on their head. World champion of what? The United States? Don't get me wrong. I love the U.S. at times, but that ain't the world. That is not the world. We are the world. We have almost every country out here fighting, thriving, putting on their flag to show that they are represented. There ain't no flags in the NBA.
All right, so there's a lot to get into, okay? First off, congratulations. Shout out to the USA. You know what I'm saying? Anytime someone can go and compete against the world and bring some titles, some world titles back home, bring some gold back home, I'm all for it. So Noah Lyles, on that particular aspect of your career, shout out to you for bringing it home to the US. But let's get to the other stuff, which is the comments he just made, which, like, okay, we'll start with the point of the world championship. Has USA always dominated basketball? Primarily, but we don't always win. Not anymore. Things are different from the dream team in the 90s. Things have changed since 92. Okay. Spain, Argentina, we know the countries. All right. It's never a given. I mean, hell, look at the MVPs. Luka, Giannis, Jokic, Embiid. None of those guys are American. This is a world sport. It's growing. Basketball's being played everywhere. And the WNBA. We know WNBA players don't get paid a lot of money. That's why they go overseas in those leagues that are crowded where they're getting paid. They're not getting paid for no reason. They're getting paid because they're great. And I know the competition over there is great. And I could see them beating the Aces or the Liberty or whatever all-star team you want to throw together of WNBA stars. So in the men's, it's questionable, but the USA's, come on, the NBA is the top league in the world. WNBA, we don't know that. Football doesn't count. MLS, we know is not the best league in the world. We know it's not. Baseball, USA didn't win the World Baseball Classic this year. Shout out to Japan. So that's questionable. So all these things are points for Noah. But here's the thing. This man's a track star. You don't usually make a lot of money in a lot of Olympic sports. You can if you're marketable, you play, you're a smooth businessman, businesswoman, you know what to do, know how to maneuver with your sponsorships, this, that, and the third. But you don't really make that much money, and your times that you can be in the public eye are few. You know what I'm saying? You got to get ready for every Olympics, this, that, and the third, competitions, but you don't get to have this platform all the time. And Noah won a world title. He won a couple of them. This was his press conference. This was his moment. Olympic athletes, the other thing, you don't get that many opportunities. And if you mess up, you got to wait 4 years to fix it. You know what I'm saying? That type of preparation, years of preparation for moments like that, it is so incredibly difficult, which is why it's so remarkable when people dominate in things like swimming or track or whatever the case may be. So for Noah to put all that work into that and to get on that stage with the cameras out, with the photographers ready to take pictures and blast it worldwide, you had your platform for your moment to celebrate your accomplishment and your world title. And what do? You're comparing yourself to other athletes and trying to make them sound like they're not as successful as you? Man, that is corny. That is corny. That sentiment, that idea of your successful moment is stuck in comparison. You're going to need to seek a therapist. There's something inside of you. It sounds crazy, but I'm being serious. Mental health therapy is very important. I don't mean that as an insult. Like, for you to immediately go to that is kind of wild. You know what I'm saying? And also, it sounded like he was been copying that and repeating that and perfecting that in the mirror, in the shower for weeks, waiting for this moment. That's also kind of corny. You know who's not corny? His name's Shaquille O'Neal. He joins us to kick off the Sporting Tribune today on the Believe Network. Enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, an NBA champion, a multiple-time NBA champion and an NBA Hall of Famer is in the building. Before we bring him in, we got to talk about why he's here, because he's here with a purpose and here for a great cause. The Shaquille O'Neal Foundation is getting ready for the 3rd annual fundraising gala. It's called The Event, presented by Pepsi Stronger Together, taking place Saturday, October 7th at MGM Grand Garden Arena here in Las Vegas. You can go get your tickets right now, access.com. Find out more info for the ShaqFoundation.org. Shaq, we're in the off season. Thank you so much for making time. How are you, my friend?
First of all, I'll always make time for the great Adrian Hernandez. That's a radio drop if you want to use it. No, but you just talking about tickets. I also need to mention those tickets start off at $50. And there will be some star-studded people there. You know me. Last year it was her. We've had Justin Bieber in the past. We've had who else have we had?
Adam Levine last year, John Mulaney last year. It was a great time last year.
Yes, it was a great time. See, I got flustered there a little bit because I just had to remember that her performance. She was so mesmerizing. Oh my God, that young lady! Wow, she brought the house down last year. But anyway, the tickets start off at $50. It's called the event, October 7th. It benefits the Shaquille O'Neal Foundation. And the purpose of the Shaquille O'Neal Foundation, we help those in need. You know, I'm gonna give you the same answer next year. We help children in need, especially in Vegas and Atlanta. We do stuff all across the country, but with the main focus in Atlanta and Vegas. And you ask why those cities, that's where I live at.
No, 100%. And look, that's one of the things I was going to say. Like, I've been here for 5 years, and one of the things I've enjoyed is you're out here in the community with your foundation. You got your businesses. I know you've been at a couple Aces games with CP3 now on the Aces. But for you heading into year 3 of this event, what's been the most rewarding part of this process?
I mean, just being able to, help those kids. I remember one time in Vegas, I'm on the street and the guy was like, "Hey man, there's this basketball court in the roughest part of Vegas. Don't nobody want to come in there." I was like, "What?" And we went in the area and we fixed it up. And we had a great event out there. And, just stuff like that. I know how important it is to have that. That's what I had. You see all these kids now with the trainers. Hey, bro, I didn't have that. I had to go outside and play. And when you go outside, you want to play at least on some concrete that's level. Like I played on unlevel concrete, but at least you want to have some nice nets or some nice chain nets. So I wanted to give those kids that opportunity.
And a single rim too, by the way. Single rim too, not double rim.
Exactly, the single rim. But it'll be a great story 20 years from now. A kid coming out of Vegas, hey, how'd you start? Man, Shaq built the court. I worked on my game every day. You know what I'm saying? So those stories always have like a full circle moment, but it's the right thing to do. My purpose on this earth is to just make people smile. I don't want to, look, we know what I did in basketball. You know what I'm doing as a DJ. I want to be the guy that, hey, when you're in the store with your mom and your mom always want to take care of you, she want to buy you the $1,000 computer, but Mr. Hernandez growing up, mom spent $1,000 on computers, then bill's going to be set back.
100%.
Be set back. So I want to be the guy that, hey, if I can help a mom get her son a computer, he get all A's, he become a doctor and a lawyer, that's what I will do.
And like, to your point, like I want people to understand, like just talking to people around the city, like you have that impact on people, right? You're a legend and you make someone's day, talking to them for 5 minutes, taking a selfie with them, whatever the case, or helping out like you have. And I want to ask you, like, is there one moment in particular that really hits you hard emotionally? Like you're like, damn, I didn't know that I could have this effect on people, or when that started?
So I take pride in being the biggest tipper in the world. So I allow people to tell me what they want. And one time I asked this lady, how much you want? Oh my God, I'm not gonna do that in professional. What you want? She said 500. I gave her 5,000. And she went, started crying. I'm like, lady, if some people take a picture of you crying, they're gonna think I was rude. Stop. She said, I didn't know how I was gonna pay my rent, and I just, it just happened. Cause bro, it takes a lot to wait on tables, bro. And I was looking at other tables and people were being disrespectful and rude. And I kind of wanted to get up and like punches to like cause a brawl in a restaurant, but I was like, you know what? These guys are being buttheads. Let me go and make her day. So thank you, darling. I appreciate you, honey. And I could tell she was there a long night. She was just tired. And I was like, all right, what do you want for a tip? But she's very polite. Because some people, when you tell them, oh, I want 20,000, like, I don't have 20,000 a day, but I have 1,000. So she's like, whatever you want to do. And she put 5, and like she was scared to put the 500, but she was just so nice and so sweet. I said, I give her 5,000. That's probably like one of my favorite moments. Just making somebody smile. But it wasn't about the money. She was like, hey, I didn't know how I was gonna pay my rent, and boom, 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 boom. So as long as I could help and do that.
No, that's amazing. And before we get out of here, I know you got a million people to talk to, so I'm gonna hit you with the speed round. But first, let's get to the important part. The Shaquille O'Neal Foundation Gala, the event happening Saturday, October 7th, MGM Grand Garden Arena. Tickets start at $50, like Shaq said earlier. Get your tickets at access.com. And for more info, ShaqFoundation.org. All right, Shaq, you ready for the speed round?
Let's do it.
Hip hop just celebrated its 50 years. And of course, you got a couple albums and you got a couple features. Rest in peace to Phife Dawg, Mobb Deep, Biggie, Hove. What was your favorite memory of being in the studio if you could only pick one?
So after my first album, I changed my mindset. Let me explain. Oh, I'm a rapper now. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, you sell 1 million albums. No disrespect to the art form or the rappers. I don't work hard, and I'm very proud of them. But that first check did nothing for me, my brother. I was like, for real, this is it? So then I
Jive Records, right?
Yeah. So then I changed my mindset. I'm going to appreciate the moments because Notorious B.I.G., no check could amount to that. Mobb Deep, no check could amount to that. Phife Dawg, no check could amount to that. I probably have the best discography of a non-rapper. So those moments, especially when I built the studio in my house, those guys that come down and we chop it up, that's what I did it for. Because 4 or 5 years before that, I was just like every other kid. I was a fan. So now they have the opportunity to rock with these guys. That was the moment that I lived for. That's the moment I continue to live for now. Like, because I did all the rapper stuff, I was like, bro, this little chick, I don't want to be a rapper no more. Just let me be a guy that just wants to rap with his favorite artist. Because,
I love it. I love it.
And that's what it was for me. So after I changed my mentality, I became a little bit more successful. But now you got a couple guys out there trying to challenge me, talking about they're the best ever athlete rappers. That'll never happen. I'll never give up my spot.
All right, Dame Lillard, shots have been fired. Okay, 2 more real quick.
We already Dame is my friend. And we had a battle and we called and thanked each other. I was like, dang, that was my first like hip hop rap battle. It was so fun. But Dame is great. But you gotta understand in competition, like for example, I know you sit back and say nobody's show is bigger than yours. But there's a guy across town that says he has the #1 shows. Competition is what makes our country great.
Can't get complacent.
That's what I'm saying. But if we could have competition without people getting crazy, it'd be good. Like Dame says he's the best. Okay, drop something. I say I'm the best. Drop something. Let the fans say, like, figure out who it is. Not, oh boy, hey, you did. It's a battle. It's competition. It's fun. But no, Dame is nice. Dame is very nice.
Let's move on with 2 more. D Wade obviously just celebrated him getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, which is amazing. You called it when you got there 19 years ago. To this day, are you still shocked that the Mavericks continued to triple team you all through that 06 finals?
Yeah, because I was playing terrible. But everybody knows that I don't like to play 2 terrible games in a row. So they probably thought, okay, he played bad, but when Shaq gets mad, he's gonna go crazy. And I was still the Shaq, but I wasn't the Shaq. But it worked out. It worked out perfectly. And they double team because I'm an unselfish guy. If I'm shooting 2 for 10, I'm not going to shoot 4 for 20. I'm not going to take another 10 shots. Like, hey, I'm off. And I was playing terrible at the free throw line. They went to hack and check a couple times, but that game 3 when I needed to step up, I did. But that's when me and D Wade had our first little. I'm like, hey man, what you gonna do? Because he was so respectful. He was always looking out for me. Like, oh, Shaq, nah, man, forget all that. This your time. And once I told him it's his time, he knew what to do with it.
And last question, and this is synergy because you brought up going 4 for 20. What's your reaction to James Harden and what he did commenting on Daryl Morey in China?
I try to stay out of people's business. But as a fan, I like to just sit back and watch how it unfolds. Obviously, it's personal.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's personal. So, but I don't know James like that. I don't know Daryl Morey like that. I know it's my job to comment on situations like that, but I try not to get personal with these guys, especially when I don't have the information. Like a lot of people still say, hey, you did this, you did that. I say, yeah, because this is what they did, and this is my reaction.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Like, you did it. This is my reaction. You don't like I try not to bash these guys. I try to speak, and I'm allowed to speak on these things because I have G14 classification. Like, right, you have the #1 show in Vegas, which gives you G14 classification. You ain't no downstairs backroom podcast. You #1, been doing it around. So when you say it, it's legit, and you say it because you're an experienced guy and you can't say it. So, but again, I don't know. I saw it, just like everybody else saw, but I'm gonna just sit back and see how it unfolds.
No,
And you know how it's gonna unfold? Have a meeting, apologize, boom, boom, boom. Or, oh yeah, I'm a liar. All right, well, I'm about to send you to Portland then. Either way.
Sixers
those
Bucks
ways
first
to
week on
unfold.
TNT.
And listen, that's the only 2 ways this thing can unfold. They ain't gonna fight. They ain't gonna argue. He may get fined, but either they're gonna have a meeting in Philly, they're gonna apologize, or, oh, I'm a liar. Okay, well, now I'm about to send you to any team that you don't want to be at. So we'll just sit back.
There it is. Well, Shaq, thanks for talking a little bit of basketball with us. Thank you for all you do here in Las Vegas. And thank you for the time. We look forward to seeing you at some Aces games. And again, remember, everybody, Saturday, October 7th at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, the event being thrown by the Shaquille O'Neal Foundation. Get your tickets right now, access.com. They start at $50. And for more info, head over to shaqfoundation.org. Shaquille, keep being a legend, my man.
You too, brother. Love you.
Yo, welcome back to the Sporting Tribune Today. Adrian Hernandez here. And it's like weird because it's our first time on the Believe Sports Network. We're so thankful. We're so happy. I'm getting used to all this with the cameras and the lights and handling this. And I'm on my stage by myself. I'm kind of nervous. I don't want to mess up my words. I want to bring you guys the best show possible. But then also when it comes to the Believe Sports Network, I don't know if you guys went to commercial break and then we're back, which is cool, or if you guys just immediately went to us. Regardless, we're glad to be back over there. We're glad to be back on the radio too. The Bet Las Vegas, the Mighty 1090 ESPN Radio Southern California, and the Hawaii Sports Radio Network. Thank you guys for tuning in, kicking off your Labor Day weekend. And by the way, shout out to Believe Sports Network for this and this alone. Just kidding. There's a lot of things we got to be thankful for, but this is one that's very huge, right? Look at the timing of the debut on the network. We are 6 days away from the NFL season kicking off. We are a day away from, really, honestly, the college football season starting, because look, week 0 sounds badass, but the games were kind of mid. I know USC played, that was cool. Hawaii got a game in. Like, for all my gamblers, because I do not partake, shout out to y'all. I know you enjoyed it. And it's just perfect timing for us. We're kicking off as the season kicks off. The Sporting Tribune, again, covers the West Coast of the country, which means we got beat writers for the Raiders. I'm included in that. You know what I mean? You're going to see me in the Raiders facility trying to get you guys the inside scoop, but also the Chargers and the Rams as well. So we look forward to, as we expand this show and we move into the future, to be checking in with those teams and keeping you up to date throughout the season. And then we're here in Las Vegas, the home of this year's Super Bowl. So to be able to take this journey with you guys and know it's going to culminate right here in Las Vegas is going to be special. We look forward to for doing our thing, man. We look forward to doing our thing for you guys. And also, if you missed our interview with Shaq that we just had, Shaquille O'Neal was just on the program. Be sure, if you want to check out that replay, go to YouTube right now, youtube.com/sportingtrib. Of course, Spotify as well. And be sure to follow us on all our social media handles at the Sporting Trib. That is TRIB. I go by the name of Adrian Hernandez. And this show is important, man. Like a first date, I need to make a good impression. You know what I'm saying? I got to get my timing right. I got to make sure my takes are all well informed. But I just talked about how I got to like the cameras. I got to get used to this. And I'm by myself. And I'm just a little boy. Where are my parents? All this stuff. So as I get used to all these things, I can't look at my notes. I just can't, because I'm trying to minimize like my computer screen right here. But I want to look at you again. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I want to look at your soul intimately and consensually. And I want to do this thing right, which means I can't look at my notes. I'm going straight from the heart to you, which leads us to the NFL season and the city of Las Vegas, Nevada, where I currently reside in, and the Las Vegas Raiders. I have taken a positive approach the past 2 seasons. In fact, last year, I thought this team was ready to make some noise. I screamed embarrassingly as a grown-ass adult when Devontae Adams was traded live on the air. I did it. I squeaked. My voice peaked. I hit puberty. I thought Josh McDaniels would be the guy. I thought he learned from his mistakes with his stint with the Broncos. I thought this team was ready to go. I didn't think Derek Carr was the greatest quarterback, but I knew Derek Carr had a lot of great weapons. And it don't matter how bad of a quarterback you are, if you got great weapons around you, you're going to be all right. You can pull through. Clearly, that didn't work. So now, not only are you not maximizing your 1A most important offensive player, you're minimizing your 1B quarterback with a history of staying healthy. I don't know what the numbers are. I'll check them. And even if this is something that you can gamble on the over-under on games played for Jimmy G. Doesn't play a full season. That's not his thing, man. This offensive line is terrible. Like, it's a bottom 10 offensive line in the league. Terrible might be a strong word. Bottom 10 in the league. All these signings. We signed Jacoby Myers, all right, wide receiver. Where is he best fit on the field as a wide receiver in the slot? We got one of the best dudes in the slot in the NFL. His name's Hunter Renfrow. So now you're signing another wide receiver. You're not able to maximize that best player's quality. Instead of getting the wide receiver, why don't we shore up the offensive line to make sure our running game can be all right, to make sure your quarterback has time? Because Jimmy G is going to need all the time in the world to make the right reads. I don't care that he knows this system. If someone's going to be in his face in 2 seconds, that's not going to be good for him. He's going to get hurt. He's not going to make the right decision. How could any quarterback, for that matter, let alone him? So you make all these signings. Defense, you don't really improve. You had linebackers last year that was working at Walmart before games that you picked up on the street because you needed people. Like, every part of this defense is thin except defensive line. If Tyree Wilson, who's come back from that injury, is explosive as we all think he is, which is why he was drafted where he was. If Chandler Jones shows out, even though he's been a disappointment, Max Crosby's going to be Max Crosby. But that secondary is thin. Those linebackers, those safeties, I don't know. By the way, they play in the AFC West. Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, not sure if you've heard of him. And here's the thing, too. Russell Wilson, of course, with Sean Payton. So I expect some improvement, even though Russell Wilson was terrible last year. Here's the thing before we go to Tom Glavine, who's on deck, who's coming up right here in less than a minute. Here's the other question to fast forward. I'm trying to get used to all this. I hope I'm making sense, but here's the thing for those joining us here on the Believe Sports Network. Look me in the eyes right now as I look directly at this camera, as I ask you this question that might be the most important for the Raiders as we head into this season. Is Jimmy G not the worst quarterback in the AFC West? Is he not? Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson? So what are we doing all these things and signing all these pieces to go 6-11, 7-10, whatever with the new game, whatever the record's going to be? Like, what are we doing? We're making all these decisions to stay middle of the pack in the one sport that you don't want to be in the middle of the pack in. I just don't get it. What I do get is I get baseball, and I like talking to people about baseball. So without further ado, we're not just talking to anybody. We're talking to a Hall of Famer. See, he's calling me right now. Hall of Famer Tom Glavine of the Atlanta Braves fame is joining us here. This is the Sporting Tribune Today. Hey, it's Adrian Hernandez, the Sporting Tribune and Odyssey Sports, and we got a Hall of Famer in the building joining us on behalf of Pepsi Zero Sugar and Sam's Club. Tom Glavine, also, of course, Braves games analyst, Bally Sports South and Southeast as well. As we start off, I know you're in Atlanta right now at Sam's Club. Let's start it off with this. Can we confirm Sam's Club has the best pretzels in the country? Right, Tom?
Yes, we can. I'll confirm that. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. And here's the key, everybody. ask for extra butter unless you're on a diet. Just don't, no salt, extra butter. You'll be good to go. I'm a veteran when it comes to pretzels at Sam's Club. But let's talk about some baseball and let's talk about some fun, man. You guys are having a ton of fun, not only because of the team's success, but you guys in the booth, they're writing articles about it. People around the country are noticing you and Jeff Franco are having a whole bunch of fun. Of course, the alumnites as well. Tell me about that experience getting to do this with your former teammates.
It was a ton of fun. When they came to me the first time and asked me about doing it, of course, I was like, yeah, if everybody's on board, I'm on board. Sounds like it could be a lot of fun. And it was. I mean, we weren't sure exactly what to expect. We knew kind of the premise of what they wanted, which was to just go on there and kind of you're in a bar having a beer and people are watching the game with you. And I think we did that. I think that came across. I think people enjoyed it. It helped that we had an unbelievable game the first time with a, very back and forth offensive game and a walk-off homer. So, all the elements were there for a great game and a great broadcast, and we had fun with it. And, the second go-round, we tried to be a little bit more mindful of a little bit of play-by-play and a little bit of taking folks to break at the end of innings. But, the premise was the same. Just have fun and be conversational and, let the fans at home hear some stories and hear us talk about some things that they don't hear every day. So I think it went well, and I'm sure it's the kind of thing they're going to want to do a little bit more as we move ahead. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
And days removed, this might be the most important question of the interview. Are you truly satisfied with your home run call? Because personally, I thought it was great.
I was. Listen, you want to talk about a lot of pressure. I mean, there was a lot of buildup to that, and I kind of felt like I only had one way to go, which was to fail. So, because again, you want it to live up to the hype, but never having done it, who knows? But I think I tried to just kind of stay in the moment, and I thought about some things that I may want to say or may not want to say, but ultimately I just wanted to try to react to the moment. I felt like I did. I felt like it was fun. I felt like it was a little bit different side of me that people don't normally see. So I thought it was all right.
And look, as people are watching this, we'll be sure to play that highlight. Like, I thought you did great, and you'll have plenty more with the Braves and their success. And when you talk about, broadcasting and everything, on the flip side of what just happened a couple days ago with Ronald Acuna Jr., like, fans running onto the field happens every day, right? There's always some jackass that does it. But this just seemed different. It was weird. The hug was like, it felt like it was forever until security finally got there and stuff. What do you make of that incident that happened at the Rocky Stadium?
Well, it's funny. I didn't see it, and I saw the highlight of it, and it was funny because my wife showed it to me, and she used the same word you just used. She's like, "This is really weird," and when I watched it, it was weird. The one guy kind of came out, and he kind of peacefully went off the field, and then the second guy just kind of went nuts. And look at it. It's the kind of thing that I'm not going to say you worry about every time you go on the field, but it's certainly in the back of guys' minds from time to time. And when it happens, it certainly is something you think about more. I don't know what took people so long to get on the field.
Felt like it was in slow motion, right?
Nothing happened. It wasn't. Yeah, it seemed like it, right? And I'm just, I'm thankful, obviously, that nothing serious happened to Ronald. When I saw Ronald kind of fall backwards over the one dude that was on the ground, you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, don't hurt. He just got over a knee injury. That's the last thing you want to see happen. So, it's a weird thing. And I'm thankful that, by and large, that hasn't happened much in today's game. But I think it was a good reminder for everybody, players and security alike, that stuff's possible and you got to be ready for it.
Yeah, and I do have to ask you, like, looking back at your career, good or bad, is there a crazy fan interaction that sticks out? And like I said, it could be a bad incident or someone going over the top, or a good one that, like, he fully dressed up in his poster or whatever the case. Is there one that sticks out for you?
I don't think I remember any. I think there was maybe the occasional streaker here and there, but in terms of people coming on the field, I honestly don't remember much of it. But I think that was in a time where I think everybody was a little bit more vigilant and mindful of it. I think that, a lot of places, it was probably a much worse ending for the person who ran on the field in those days than it is for today's guys. I'm sure a lot of those guys back in my day, when they got caught out in the field and taken down underneath the stand somewhere, it was probably not a pleasant experience for them. But I don't know how much of that goes on anymore. So, I just think that by and large, the word has gotten out that it's not a good idea.
No, 100%. And to get on the actual field with the Braves and their success, of course, we're heading towards the playoff closing out here with September in the regular season. Ronald and the MVP race with Mookie Betts. How do you see this playing out?
I'll be honest with you. I kind of forgot about Mookie. I know he's having a great year, but I think Ronald's certainly top of the conversation. Mookie's having a great year. Freddie Freeman's been having a great year. Matt Olson, I think, made a run there when he got really hot and hit a bunch of home runs. He's cooled off a little bit in terms of the home run ball. But listen, there are a lot of guys that are worthy of being in the conversation. Certainly Ronald having a historic year or at least being on the cusp of a historic year with 30 homers and 60 stolen bases, something that's never been done before, certainly enhances his talk. But listen, Ronald, whether he wins MVP or not, I think he's probably, the only reason I say probably is you got to put Ohtani in the conversation. Probably the most dynamic player in the game. We talk about five-tool players, and I think sometimes that term gets used a little bit liberally, but Ronald truly is that five-tool guy. He can beat you so many ways, and there are guys in the game who can do some of the things Ronald can do, but there isn't anybody in the game that can do all of the things Ronald can do, and that's what makes him such a special player.
Tom Glavine joining us on behalf of Pepsi Zero Sugar and Sam's Club. And I got to be honest with you, Tom, this show does air in Southern California. And you saying that about Mookie Betts, I know a couple Dodgers ears peaked up. But I do have to ask you of what everyone's thinking that's going to happen in the NLCS, which is the Braves versus the Dodgers. And as we head towards the playoffs, just overall with the Braves, how do you see this playing out?
Well, it'd be hard to think that it's not going to end up being the Braves and the Dodgers in the NLCS. But listen, I think we thought that last year too, and the Padres had other envisioned other things. So you never know. I mean, that's the danger of the postseason. It's a short series; anything can happen. So you just don't ever know, right? The best team doesn't always win. The hottest team wins sometimes. So. But look, I'd be hard pressed to bet against the Braves and the Dodgers being in the NLCS, and I think this series they have coming up this weekend is going to be a lot of fun to watch. From that standpoint, both teams are really good. Both teams are playing really good baseball. So I think it's going to be fun to watch. I think the players and everybody are going to downplay it, which they should. What happens this weekend will have no bearing in what happens potentially a month from now, and I think everybody knows that. But it's still going to be fun to watch and kind of speculate where both teams are and, who has advantages in different positions or different places on the field.
Hey, Tom, before we get out of here, of course, you're here on behalf of Pepsi Zero Sugar and Sam's Club. So if you could speak on them. But also, my final question, too, is you have one item in your house to impress someone walking in. What would that item be?
Ooh. All right. So first off, I'm here in Atlanta at Sam's Club in McDonough and hanging out with some folks here for the end of the summer, which is always fun and certainly talking a lot of Braves baseball. But Pepsi Zero Sugar, Sam's Club are hosting a sweepstakes that allows baseball and hot dog fans alike to savor the end of the hot dog season. So beginning today through September the 30th to celebrate the $1.38 pricing, 138 winners will receive a Sam's Club gift card worth $100. All fans have to do is share a video or a photo of their Pepsi Zero Sugar and Sam's Club Cafe Hot Dog Combo on Instagram or TikTok by tagging at Pepsi and at Sam's Club, and by using the hashtag Sam's Club Hot Dog Combo, hashtag Better with Pepsi, and hashtag Sweepstakes in order to qualify to win one of those prizes. So hopefully folks will get out and do that. And as far as my one item to impress people, man, that's a really good question. Maybe it depends. If my wife's Bentley is in the driveway when they pull up, then they'll probably be impressed by that.
Wow. He said, forget the trophies.
Notice I said my wife's Bentley, not mine. But yeah, once you get in the house, I guess, yeah, that's, you bring up a good point. I don't know. I'm obviously fond of my Cy Young awards. I'm really fond of my World Series MVP trophy, but man, maybe the replica, easy for me to say, the replica plaque of me in Cooperstown would probably be my best one.
Man, you got a lot of options and all of those answers qualified. And by the way, fellas, notice how he said his wife said his key. Remember what I said at the beginning of the interview, Sam's Club has the best pretzels. And remember to enter this contest to get yourself hooked up with Pepsi Zero Sugar and Sam's Club. Tom, it's been a pleasure. We hope to talk to you soon, my friend.
All right, man. Thank you. I appreciate the time.